Hey guys, just want to tell you about day 7 of my ketamine therapy. I got my dog, my big doggy Gus Gus with me. Say hi, Gus Gus. He's cute. There's my other dogs too. If you guys didn't see that, there's Bingo and that's Yankee over there, and we got a little one upstairs. Well, she's not little; she's just old, Bailey. But back to ketamine therapy. So today was actually pretty freaking amazing. Remember yesterday they had me go down in dosage because I was having I had a bad night the other night, and but today I saw there's a few different things. So today I did see my oncologist, my neuro-oncologist. He told me about my chemo I'm gonna be taking. Now the chemo there's two parts of the chemo. There's two drugs of chemo I'm taking. One is tibsovo and one is gliostine. And it's interesting. So I talked to my oncologist, and what the specialty pharmacy told me on the phone, the one who sent me my chemo pills, they said with one pill I can't eat any fat with it, and the other pill, which I'll get really sick from, the gliostine, I have to be asleep, basically. He said, be asleep, take your nausea pill right before you go to bed, and then, set your alarm, take the pill, and then go back to sleep. So my doctor, my oncologist, neuro-oncologist, to be correct, he said that he didn't say anything about the fat, but he said, yeah, listen to them. They know what they're talking about. And he told me how to take the other pill. He said with the other pill, that I should, I forget, he said I eat like around 6, and he said wait 2 hours, take your nausea pill, and wait a half an hour, and then sleep. And then as soon as you wake up, you take another nausea pill. Now this is a pill that I would take once every 6 weeks. So, but tonight I'll be starting chemo. I'll be starting the tibsovo. That's the one that I can't eat with fat, which is interesting because they told me to do a ketogenic diet. And I'll do a separate video about the ketogenic diet I'm on, and I'll talk about why, that's really the best diet for brain cancer. And I spoke about this when I would do my public speeches and things like that, public speaking. When I dove into nutrition the first time, I found out, the two best things to fight cancer are the Gerson whole foods diet. It's a diet that's high in nutrients. There's a lot of juicing involved. It's clean. It's all natural. But enemas are part of that. So that's part of it. So that kind of turns you off of the Gerson a little. The ketogenic diet, of course, it's just all fats. Look, you see my beautiful fiance behind me. Hello. You can see a ketogenic diet is, just all fats, because the brain feeds off of fats, what it uses fuel for. So basically, I have to get my body into a state of ketosis where, I use ketones, which is basically I burn fat for energy, fat for fuel, and I go away from my sugar. So that's been a tough go. But I don't want to get too much into that. I will talk more about ketogenic therapy, my ketogenic diet in a separate video. I really just want to, focus on the ketamine session right now. The ketamine session was fantastic. So again, first I went to my oncologist. I told him about the ketamine. He was like, you look great. You're so much better. Today I woke up, my eyes a million times better. I feel like I can see again. So it's just more improvement. But the doctor said that he's like, ketamine therapy, that as long as that's good, keep on doing it. That's great. And I told him, I was like, well, I'm on that therapy, but the other night I was watching TV. I was watching the show 1899, which is pretty cool, by the creators of Dark, which I'm sure if you haven't checked out Dark, and I'm not getting paid for this promotion. It's just a great show on Netflix. I'm not getting paid by Netflix either, though. But if you're listening, hit me up. I'm just kind of not, but So I talked to the doctor and I asked him, I was like, well, when in those times, when I'm not in the middle of the session of, my ketamine therapy, or it's say a weekend, and I have a really bad headache. Can I take like a pain pill for it? And he said, yeah, no, that's fine. So that's good. And I told him, I was like, I don't want a lot. I just want a little bit. It's just like one if I need it, or two, maybe write me a prescription for 10 in a month, which would be easy. But I don't want to get where I was before, because before my pain was so bad. I was living off of pain pills just because I couldn't. I couldn't sleep. I was waking up every 5 minutes. I couldn't even. The thing is, I couldn't see, so I was exacerbating everything. But it just felt like there was a constant grinding in my right eye, and that was tough and that was scary, and that's why I couldn't sleep. So ketamine therapy, I've been sleeping every night since, which is, knock on wood, a blessing, because, you need sleep to for your body to properly heal. And I needed that. So really coming off of, having that stroke and having the radiation tiles in there and the surgery, there's a lot. So my sleep wasn't very good. And then, of course, when the pain came, it just took sleep out of the equation. But so back to the ketamine therapy. Sorry, I'm probably still a little out of it from the ketamine therapy, but you get the gist. So the ketamine therapy, the doctor said he can move me back up to the dose I had 2 days ago. The dose that he took me down by half off of, because, everything was good. My blood pressure was good, everything. So they put me back up on that. And I had my music in my ear. I wanted to continue listening to Nutcracker Suite, Tchaikovsky, because that was, an incredible experience. But it was getting a little intense for a second, because I was like going places and starting to travel, and the music was a little intense, so I turned it off. When I turned off the music, there was still that beeping thing, because they have you monitored up to the heart. So I just put on like a low tone, just some like background music, like white noise almost. And suddenly, it's very strange. It's like the room I'm in, the little doctor's office, is like, it's like almost like a little bubble, and I'm like floating out, and I'm like trying to think. I wanted to talk to my mom and my dad. So like in my head I was saying like mommy, daddy, because both my parents are gone. So I really wanted to talk to them. I haven't seen my dad since I was 26. He passed away then. My mom, I was 35, but it was rough, and I'll get into that as well. But so today when I went to my ketamine session, it was like a therapy day. It was like hanging out with my mom again. It was incredible. It wasn't like she was talking to me, but it was like her presence. She was there, and I could talk to her, and she could hear me, and I can say that, oh, I miss you, that I love you, or you're always my best friend. That at the end, how it was hard, and I'll talk about that too. And there's a chapter in my book that you guys have the first chapter that I posted that you can see. There's a chapter later on in my book, which honestly I put off writing for around like 4 years now, because it's so hard to revisit. The end with my mom was really, really tough, and I don't want to get into that now. I want to continue with the ketamine session. But so there was a lot of things that are still very painful in my head. But this session today, feeling my mom's presence, I was able to talk to her. It was so powerful and so amazing. When the nurse came in to ask me how I was doing, I asked them if they could call Jenna in, my fiance, because I wanted to introduce her to my mom. And now I'm thinking back, I kind of feel embarrassed and foolish, but it wasn't. They see it all the time. But really, I had Jenna there, and she came in, and it was like my mom was there, and I was introducing my mom to Jenna. And I took Jenna's hand, and it felt like on one side was Jenna's hand, on one side was my mom's hand, and it was just so beautiful. I was streaming tears. I was streaming tears before Jenny even came into office, before I had them call her in, because it was such a powerful experience. And in the experience, which is another thing, it's like, because my mom's gone from me, my dad's gone from me. And towards, right before I brought in Jenna, there was a part where I'm kind of in that bubble again, floating around. And my mom, is beginning to talk to me, and I see her. She's like a bright light, and she's there. And then I see her bright light, move into my son, Eddie. And it's like she's within Eddie. And it's like, it's crazy, but it's like telling me something like my son, my family, it's still there. And every time I go under and have a vision, I just feel very close to my family, also very close to my Jewish roots, to my heritage, because one of the most beautiful scenes in my life was my Bar Mitzvah. And I was able to go back to my Bar Mitzvah today and be at the bima, which is a podium with the Torah, and have my mom next to me. It was crazy. It was like my mom was next to me again, and my dad was on the other side. But this one really, my dad was kind of distant, and this wasn't. I love my dad more than anything. My dad was incredible, and I'll talk about him in other videos. But it was really like, it was like I was like 13 again, and I was there, and all this joy. But it was different, because even though I was 13, I was there. It's like I was still, 41-year-old Danny in my 13-year-old self, and I was able to appreciate it in a way I couldn't appreciate it before, which I appreciated immensely before. One of the greatest days of my life was my Bar Mitzvah. I mean, most Jewish boys will say that. Parents go, they go the whole 9 yards for Bar Mitzvahs usually, and my parents did, and it was fabulous. One of the specialist days of my life. But to be able to get back there was incredible. And I was back in Disneyland with my mom. It's like I was revisiting all these places with her, and I could see her again. And she wasn't like sick, or like she was still, her pretty vibrant self, and it was like it was incredible. And then when I saw her go into, my son Eddie, and I think about it, Eddie's so like her in so many ways. He's a tough kid. He's got a big mouth. He's very opinionated, which I am as well. I picked that up from my mom, my grandfather, which I'll talk about all those in subsequent videos. But it was a magnificent experience. So I have a couple more days. Well, I think I only have one more day of ketamine therapy until I have my 5-week break. But for anyone who's suffering from pain, it's a solution. It is really incredible. It's amazing what happens. And, the hallucinations are just a fun side of, counterpart to it. You don't always get them. I've heard, that some people get bad ones. So they try to give you an anti-anxiety thing before, and they always give you some Zofran, which is an anti-nausea medication as well, to help you go through the session. The only time I ever start to feel a little overwhelmed is when I was listening to, the Nutcracker Suite, and it started to get a little intense, the music. That's when I switched it, So it was super easy to control. But yeah, I highly recommend it. I mean, the pain that I was suffering from before was pain that no one would want to live a life on. I mean, it was just miserable. I mean, the vision, of course, my eyesight was basically blind, but that pain that was just grinding in my right eye, grinding. And I had those days where, my headache got so severe, I vomited again. And that hasn't happened to me since I had that huge tumor in my head back in 2015, right before I had my surgery. So that was scary. But ketamine, since there, it's a world of difference. Like, honestly, my eyesight's better, my disposition's better. And just to get those insights, it's honestly, to use the word, it's pretty magical. It really is. How it affects your mind and how it treats your pain. And I'm sure in regards to depression, it is magnificent as well. My former, because I can't work right now, but my wonderful CEO, who's just the kindest lady, who, I couldn't imagine working for anyone else, because I'm a medical executive recruiter. Right now I'm not working, of course, so money's a little scary, but, and then with all the hospital bills and things like that, but she's fabulous. So I called her and I told her about it, and she put her daughter on the phone, and her daughter told me that, she takes it because for depression, she has post-traumatic stress, and because she's a rough experience. And she described it to me, and she said, it's wonderful, it works well. And this was before I did it. So that kind of gave me a boost of confidence to do that as well. So it was nice. And so yeah, she told me, she's like, most of the time you're just, just very calm, relaxed. She does the therapy session, so they actually talk to her. I didn't do the therapy sessions. I'm just doing the infusion for pain. But she said sometimes you will go down that K-hole, and the K-hole is the thing I talked about before. And for me, the K-hole, only one time that I really because I might have gave it to myself, honestly, like this image, but I imagined myself, I was laying just on the edge of a hole, and suddenly I fell in, and like just like blue stardust was like floating around me while I was falling. And that was, I was in the day I had that incredible experience, that I was in the desert with the staff and like, leading my people to the promised land, which was incredible as well. But yeah, so in respects to that, the K-hole thing, yeah, it is real. You fall down it. And, if you have start to have scary, just try to steer yourself away. Like what I did with my music, I immediately switched my music. But yeah, I mean, usually these videos are short. I know I went to the 15-minute mark today, a little bit over, but I just wanted to get a little bit more off my chest. I'm feeling better, so I feel like I could talk more. I'm going to be releasing a lot more content. I'm going to really, so this video, will come with my ketamine sessions when I go that. But yeah, I'll be talking. You guys will get to know me really well. But today, which I believe day 7, my days might be a little off on the ketamine therapy. I don't have it together the best right now, but I'm getting it more and more. But one thing is good is every time I go into the clinic, doctors are like, man, Danny, you look so much better, because I looked horrendous when I first walked in. I was completely blind. Like when I went to Thanksgiving dinner at my fiance's family's house, I couldn't see anything, and I just sat down, and then like halfway through I had to go lay down in her aunt's bed and fall asleep. So, and then her family see me, and they're like, oh, you look a million times better. So I'm crediting a lot to that, to the healing, crediting a lot to that, to the ketamine therapy, and I'm crediting a lot to that, to the ketamine therapy finally letting me sleep and heal. So yeah, today was very successful. I'm feeling a lot better. Of course, some days are good, some days are bad, so I might not have, the best day tomorrow, but who knows, I might have an even better day. It's really, touch and go, but I'm feeling good about the process. I'm a little nervous about the chemo, but I'm confident it's not going to take me down. I'm a fighter. Like this podcast is called The Power of Fight, podcast channel, whatever the hell it is. I decided to name it eventually, because this is just in its infancy. But yeah, I'm feeling good, guys. I'm feeling good. And yeah, and once I get through this, I'll be there to answer questions and talk to people and, have some help share things. But right now it's just me going through it. It's just me fighting. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you so much. And maybe I'll come up with a new tagline right now just to close off. And I think I have it. I'll see you later, guys. My name is Danny. And remember, always keep up the fight. Ciao.